They say every country has shadows, places where truth is bent, twisted, hidden. But in South Africa, one man walked into the light and pointed straight at the rot inside the nation's most powerful institution, the police. His name is General Mkhwanazi, a man who wore the uniform, swore the oath, and climbed to the highest rank, police commissioner. But instead of becoming another silent guardian of the system, he became something far rarer, a whistleblower from within. Because according to him, the system itself has already been captured. When Mkhwanazi speaks, it doesn't sound like an accusation. It sounds like a confession for a country. He claims organized crime isn't fighting the police, it is the police. That the very force sworn to protect the people has been quietly infiltrated, piece by piece, by networks that thrive on corruption, intimidation, and fear. Think about that. Not a few bad apples, not isolated scandals, but a machine so compromised that justice itself may no longer be in the hands of the law. To understand the weight of his testimony, you need to understand South Africa's history. This is a nation scarred by apartheid, reborn through democracy, yet still haunted by inequality and violence. For decades, the police have stood at the uneasy center of that story, sometimes protectors, often predators. Trust, once broken, is not easily rebuilt. And now, when violent crime grips communities, when people dial emergency numbers in desperation, the haunting question becomes, who is really answering that call? Mkhwanazi is not an outsider throwing stones. He's a career officer, a man who gave his life to the badge. And that's what makes his words so heavy. Because when an insider says the house is on fire, you can't ignore the smoke. He describes an institution where promotions can be bought, cases can vanish, and officers can serve two masters, one official, the other criminal. He hints at judges compromised, prosecutors pressured, entire investigations strangled before they see daylight. This isn't just corruption, this is capture. The quiet replacement of a justice system with something that looks like justice, but serves only power. The risk of saying these things out loud cannot be overstated. South Africa is no stranger to silenced voices. Journalists threatened, whistleblowers assassinated. Names like Bobby Tidiokaran, dunned down for exposing graft, linger as a chilling warning. So when Mkhwanazi stepped forward, he wasn't just speaking truth, he was gambling with his life. And yet, he did it anyway. Why? Maybe because every officer swears the same words, to serve and protect. Maybe because he couldn't stand watching the uniform he once wore turn into a disguise for crime. Or maybe because he knew silence would make him complicit. Whatever the reason, his testimony became a crack in the facade, the kind of story that forces a nation to look at itself in the mirror. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Exposing the rot is not the same as removing it. Mkhwanazi's words are powerful, yes, but power alone doesn't topple networks that stretch from street corners to boardrooms, from gang leaders to cabinet ministers. And so the question lingers. Will South Africa listen? Will it act? Or will this just become another headline, fading into the noise while the machine carries on? History is full of people who shouted into the dark, warning that something was broken. Some were silenced, some were ignored, and some sparked revolutions. What happens next in South Africa is not just about one commissioner's testimony. It's about whether a country drowning in crime and corruption still believes in the possibility of justice. Because at the end of the day, nations don't collapse because of corruption alone. They collapse when people stop believing the truth matters. And in that sense, Mkhwanazi's voice is more than an accusation. It's a reminder. And sometimes, the only thing standing in the gap is the courage of one man. This is the story of the man who exposed a nation's dirty cops. And now, it's up to that nation to decide what to do with the truth.